Hi moms, welcome to the 20 Minute Fit Mom, where you learn about high intensity training, flexible diet, and the most time efficient way to get in shape for busy moms. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Ozempic and other weight loss drugs. Should you use them? Are they going to help you to achieve your goals faster? Do you still have to focus on your nutrition and exercise when you're using them? How long can you keep using them? So all those questions will be answered in this episode. And I start first establishing here why I'm making this episode here. I'm not against anything. I think everything can be used. Nutrition tools, supplements, exercise, even aesthetic procedures, drugs, everything can be used in the right way. So my goal is to educate you in a way that if you use them, you will have the best possible results without harming your health, okay? Because you can't just keep using a drug forever, okay? And think you won't have any side effects, because any drug you put into your body will help you in one side, but it might bring you side effects, okay? I won't get into this specific part because this is more a biological part. A pharmacist will explain this part much better than me. But the point is that everyone starts using that drug or consider using the drug because they hear the stories about other women achieving good results, losing weight, without sometimes focusing so much on exercise, on nutrition. And you wonder, what if I'm using this here? I won't have to focus on nutrition as much as I'm doing. It's going to be a tool to help me to relieve the other parts of the process, of the weight loss process. But the thing is that the drug is a tool that you can use for a limited time. All right. Again, it's for a limited time. You can't just keep using forever. And why? Because your body will get used to, and you will have to increase the dose. And this applies to any kind of drug that's going to help you to build muscle, to lose fat. Okay. Over time, your body will get used to, and you will have to increase doses. And those doses will might cause more side effects, and so on and so forth. It's a cycle. So you can't just keep using it forever. So how do you use that? Okay, just in a bit. But there are some statistics that show, first, I wanna present this data here. There are some statistics that show that about 10 to 20% of people that lose weight keep for over 5 years. So we will say in a permanent way. If you keep your weight for over 2 to 5 years, that we can say that you achieve your goals permanently, okay? Because after 2 or 3 years, regardless of how much weight you lost, the tendency is that it's going to be a lot easier for you to keep that weight off. So the statistics shows that about 10 or 20% of people keep the weight, even using weight loss drugs. So that proves that the drug is a tool, but you can't just use forever, and it's not a solution if you don't approach the whole thing. Okay, nutrition, diet, the whole thing. And what is the problem of the drug when you stop? Right, if you just relied on the drug, okay, and you didn't do the other parts, which is the calorie deficit, the strength training, which is something I'm always explaining, you might lose muscle during the process. Okay, because when you lose weight, you don't lose just fat. I always explain that the two tissues that we have the most in our bodies to be used as a fuel when you're losing weight are muscle and fat, not only fat. All right. So through the right strategy, you make your body to lose more fat than muscle, or no muscle at all and only fat. Okay. So if you approach a weight loss diet without the strength training and reducing your calories for a period of time, reducing them too much, you might lose muscle, which will decrease your metabolism, right? And that means that over time, you will have to eat less to keep that weight off. Because if now your body needs 2,000 calories to survive, this amount will decrease over time when you lose muscle, okay? Because the less muscle you have, the fewer calories your body will use to survive, okay? That's one of the side effects. And this might cause rebound, okay, to recover the weight fast. So that's why relying only on the drug is not a good idea, because that can happen. So how can you work on that? How can you avoid that to happen? Let's say if you decide to use Ozempic or any other weight loss diet, okay, how to approach that to have the best possible results, and you use during the shortest period of time. Because like I said, you can't just use a drug, especially something like that, weight loss drugs, okay, you can't just keep using it forever. So you have to do just like bodybuilders. Bodybuilders, for example, people think they keep using performance-enhancing drugs all the time. As far as I know, they work on cycles. Okay, so during the year. So in this phase here, I'm getting ready for a competition, for example. So I'm gonna set, let's say, 8, 10 weeks, 12 weeks of restricting diet to lose, but this is in bodybuilding, okay? And they use whatever enhancer they will use to help them during that process when they are focusing on their diets 100%, they are focusing on their workouts 100%, often doing some cardio as well, and the drug come there to boost that process, okay? As a result, they don't have to stay for so long to have the best possible results. So you can use that frame too, all right? So you have to set a goal. Okay, I want to lose, say, 40 pounds. So I need to lose 40 pounds. What do I need to achieve that? Number one, I always explain that moderate calorie restriction, calorie deficit. If you don't decrease the number of calories you're eating in a day, you won't lose fat, all right? Because this is biology. Body fat is store energy. When you eat more than you need, your body stores those extra calories as energy to be used in the future. So when you create a deficit, the number of calories your body needs versus the number of calories you're eating, that the missing calories will come from your body fat. Okay, so this is always the number one. It doesn't matter with drugs, with no drugs. If you're a bodybuilder, a teenager, a 60-year-old person, or a mom, whatever, calorie deficit is always the number one. You have to create calorie deficit. Number two is strength training in a progressive way. I explained this in past episode, okay, what means in a progressive way. This is, just as a short explanation, is lifting weights, but working on the progression. I mean, getting heavier, a little heavier every time. So let's say you use, just to give a round number here, okay, you use 100 pounds and you got 12 reps, 15 reps, or 90 seconds. That's over what we use for muscle building. So you need to increase your weight in 2 to 3%, let's say. So that will be 2 pounds. So you add 2 pounds on top of the 100 pounds that you were using before, and then you start again. So this is the progression I'm talking about. Every time you go to the gym, or you try to do a longer set or a little heavier than the last time. So every time you try to do this, but in small amounts, okay? I'm not saying increasing 5 or 10 pounds every time you're going to the gym. No. Or you increase a little bit of weight, or you get a few more reps, okay? Or a longer time if you're not counting reps. Right, so this is the number one. Why? Because that way you show to your body that you need your muscles. So you don't lose muscle, so it doesn't happen what I said at the beginning. The slowing metabolism, which is when you're losing muscle, your body starts using less energy. Okay, so this is the second point. Okay, strength training. So number one, calorie deficit. Number two, strength training to avoid slowing the metabolism, and also to avoid that saggy look. What it means saggy, when you lose muscle along with the fat, your body won't look as good as you want, as sexy, okay? Because I assume you don't just want to lose weight, you want to look good. At least I think most people, unless the person has too much weight to lose, very often people with over 80 or over 100 pounds to lose, they just care about the weight. They don't care about the look. They just want to reduce the weight on the scale. But I don't think this is the right approach. Even if you have a lot to lose, you always have to look to think about the aesthetics. Okay, so when you strength train, you will make your body look better at the end of the process because you're not losing muscle. All right. So I always explain that you have the skin, you have the body fat, and you have the muscle tissue. So the body fat is in the middle between the skin and the tissue. That is what you want to reduce. You don't want just to lose weight. You don't want to lose muscle. You want to keep or even gain muscle while you're losing fat. That is gonna give you that look of toned body. Okay, you want to tone up at the same time you're losing weight. So that's why you do resistance training. And the drugs, if you're doing all that, that is when the drug comes. Okay, because when you set when you have an eating plan with a calorie deficit, you will be eating fewer calories than your body needs, fewer calories than you were eating before. So you might be hungry. So what do you do if you're hungry? You don't stick to your diet. That easy. Okay, so it's pretty easy. It's pretty hard for people to stick to their diets because they get hungry. Sometimes they create that calorie deficit. They reduce their calories, but they don't choose the right food to feel full. What do I mean by the right food? Let's say you need to eat 400 calories in your next meal. If you're eating some fruits, bread, and say a piece of cheese, you will feel fuller than if you eat some cookies. Okay, even though there are the calories are the same, the cookies are a food with a high calorie density, which means a lot of calories in a small portion. So if you eat those kind of foods, you will be hungry, even eating the same number of calories. So by choosing the wrong choices in a diet, for example, the person gets hungry. And that is when a drug comes into action. So even if your diet doesn't look 100%, say, healthy, people like to use the term, I don't like that term, but clean, right? A clean diet means, no sugar, no trans fat, and those things that you try to avoid. They give a lot of calories to your diet. All right. So when you're taking any kind of drug, it's gonna work mostly on your hunger control. So you will be able to stick to the diet. So here's a key information: the weight loss drugs, they don't usually act in the fat burning. They usually act in the insulin production, your body insulin production. So when your body produces different levels of insulin, it will control your hunger. It will release glycogen in a different way. And it will be stored in a different way in the fat cells. And this is what it causes weight gain. Okay, because insulin increases, and then your fat cells absorb more glycogen. Okay, and this is stored as a fat. So if the fat that you gain is not fat. Okay, excess of calorie causes fat gain. Any excess of calorie, even if you're eating too much fruit, this is going to be stored as fat in your fat cells. If you eat too much dairy, too much protein, even protein, okay, whatever you eat in excess will be stored as a fat, and this has to do with insulin, the hormone insulin. Okay, so weight loss diets work on that hormonal balance. Okay, to help you to reduce the storage of fat. So another thing is the hunger sometimes is also created because of the spikes of insulin. Okay, again, the weight loss drug helps you with the regulation of those spikes, so your hunger will be controlled. So mostly they act mostly on hunger control, insulin regulation, and other hunger hormones like ghrelin. I don't remember the hormones now, but there are two key hormones that are responsible for the hunger and the hunger sensation. So when you eat, up to a certain point, those hormones will be released and tell to your brain, hey, stop eating, you're good, you don't need to eat anymore, or the opposite. Okay, so weight loss drugs act on all those hormones, insulin, and in general hunger control, so you're able to stick to your diet. All right, so if you have the right diet, and if you're not able to follow your diet, to stick to your diet because it's just hard, you don't know how to do it, you don't know what kind of foods you choose, you don't know what to eat, that is when the weight loss diet drug will help you the most. Okay, but if you're not taking care of your nutrition, you're not doing any strength training, you're just relying on the drug, you might lose some weight, okay, but it will probably not be something permanent. Okay, you will probably recover that weight after, when you stop. I said at the beginning, you will have to stop using the drug at some point, and when you do stop, you might recover that weight. Why? Because if you didn't strength train, you probably lost some muscle, which decreases the number of calories your body uses. And even if you're eating the same thing you were eating before started the process, you will gain weight with the same number of calories, because now your body is spending fewer calories. All right, so this is the way weight loss diet drugs should be used to boost the results of the diet and strength training. Calorie restriction number 1, strength training number 2. If you need, sometimes you might need, maybe you have a slower metabolism, some people need to do some cardio, but in general, people don't need to do, at least with the 20-minute Fit Mom protocol, people don't do cardio. People don't do any extra cardio unless you like it. Okay, you like doing some running, walking, or any other aerobic activity, you can do it just because you like it. But if you're really strength with intensity and progression, and you are restricting your calories, you don't need extra aerobic, which is great because it doesn't waste time and it allows you to recover better for your strength training, because you always have to make progress. So you have to let your body rest for you to achieve that progress. Okay, so that's the way. And before I wrap up, I want to give an example of a story of a client. I had a client in the past that he was into bodybuilding, he wanted to compete, and he was taking, yes, I remember the name, but I won't give the name now, because that's not important here. The important thing is that he was taking high doses of one of the most common drugs for fat loss in bodybuilding. It's a drug that works, okay, because lots of bodybuilders administrate doses of that drug along with the diet and everything else, and it helps to reduce the body fat, to achieve that really low body fat look. But that person, it was an amateur bodybuilder. He wasn't losing. He was with a really high body fat because he was eating too much, even though he was taking the drug for fat loss. Okay, he was training heavy. He was training very well. He was administrating the drug. Okay, I don't know doses, I don't know those details, but he was, because he told me he wanted me to take care of his nutrition at that time. That was over 10 years ago, when I was only working as a dietitian before I started coaching people on nutrition and workouts. Okay, at that time I was only taking care of their nutrition, supplementation, and everything. So he told me that he was using everything for me to know because he thought it was irrelevant information for me to know, and not losing fat. Okay, even after a few months following my eating plan and all, he wasn't losing. Why? Because he was eating too much. He was cheating too much on his diet. He was he was just eating too much. That proves that the weight loss drug won't help you if you don't take care of the other aspects. Okay, if you are doing everything right and if you use it, that's amazing. Okay, you can plan for X number of weeks of doing everything, you will have amazing results. And gradually, you stop taking them until you will get a sustainable result, and you don't need to use them anymore. That's the way to use. They're not supposed to be used forever in a non-stop way. Okay, I hope you like this episode. And if you have any questions, you're watching this on YouTube, you can drop in the comments. If you're listening to my podcast, you also can drop your questions. You can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify. 20 Minute Fit Mom. All right, time efficient fitness approach for busy moms. See you in the next one.